People start adjusting to you. They start respecting your decisions, even if they don't fully understand them. And that's the shift you want. From needing approval to owning your path. So next time someone questions your decision, pause. Don't rush to explain. Don't rush to defend. Just respond with calm certainty. Or don't respond at all. Because not every question deserves an answer. And not every person deserves an explanation. If you want people to treat you differently, stop trying to convince them. Start becoming someone who doesn't need to. Let your actions speak so loudly that your explanations become unnecessary. And if you're finding value in this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment Stoic Mindset below. Because this is just the beginning. 2. Learn the power of silence. Silence is uncomfortable for most people. That's exactly why it's powerful. In a world where everyone is reacting, talking, arguing, explaining, silence stands out. It creates presence. It creates control. It creates mystery. And most importantly, it creates respect. When you react to everything, you become predictable. People know exactly how to trigger you, exactly how to get a response out of you, exactly how to control the situation. But when you stay calm, when you pause, when you choose silence instead of immediate reaction, everything changes. Now you become unreadable. And what people can't read, they can't easily manipulate. Seneca believed, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. That single idea, delay, is the foundation of emotional power. Because most damage in life doesn't come from events. It comes from reactions. Uncontrolled reactions. Instant reactions. Emotional reactions. Story. Imagine this. Someone disrespects you. Maybe it's a comment. Maybe it's a tone. Maybe it's something subtle but intentional. Most people react immediately. They raise their voice. They defend themselves. They try to win the moment. But in doing so, they lose something far more valuable. Control. Because now they're emotional. And when you're emotional, you're no longer in charge. You're being driven. But the Stoic does something different. He pauses. Not because he's weak, but because he's aware. He observes the situation. He understands the emotion rising inside him. But he doesn't act on it immediately. And in that moment of silence, he creates space. Space to think. Space to choose. Space to respond instead of react. And that space is where power lives. Because people expect reaction. They expect noise. They expect emotion. But when you give them calm, when you give them silence, it disrupts their expectations. It forces them to think. It shifts the dynamic. Now they're the ones feeling uncertain. Now they're the ones adjusting. Because your silence is saying something without words. I am in control. I am not easily moved. I choose my response. And that message is powerful. But silence isn't just about conflict. It's also about presence. When you talk less, people listen more. When you don't fill every gap with words, your words carry more weight. Think about it. If you speak all the time, people tune you out. But if you speak selectively, people lean in. They pay attention. They value what you say. That's the discipline of silence. And it takes strength. Because silence can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like you're losing the moment. It can feel like you should say something. Do something. Prove something. But that's ego talking. Stoicism teaches you to rise above that. To understand that not every moment needs your reaction. Not every comment needs your response. Not every situation needs your energy. Sometimes, the strongest move is to say nothing. To observe. To stay grounded. To remain in control. And over time, people begin to notice. They realize you're not easy to provoke. Not easy to read. Not easy to influence. And that changes how they treat you. Because people are careful around those who don't react impulsively. They think twice. They speak differently. They act differently. All because you mastered one thing. Silence. Rehook. The less you react, the more people respect your presence. The more you pause, the more powerful your responses become. So next time you feel the urge to react instantly, don't. Pause. Breathe. Choose. And if you're finding value in this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment Stoic Mindset below. Because mastering silence might be the most powerful upgrade you ever make. 3. Raise your standards, or be treated as an option. Stay with me till the end, because this is where everything starts to change. This is not just another lesson. This is the line between being respected and being overlooked. People treat you based on what you accept, not what you say, not what you post, not what you wish for, but what you consistently allow. If you accept disrespect, inconsistency, or excuses, you are teaching people how to treat you. And most people don't realize this is happening in real time. It's not one big moment. It's small moments. Repeated moments. Moments where you stay silent when something feels off. Moments where you ignore behavior that clearly crosses your boundaries. Moments where you choose comfort over self-respect. And every one of those moments sends a signal. A signal that says, "This is okay." Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You become what you give your attention to." Now think about that carefully. If your attention is constantly going to people who disrespect you, if your energy is constantly invested in relationships that drain you, if your focus is locked on people who treat you like an option, then over time, you become someone who accepts being treated that way. That's how standards collapse. Not instantly, but gradually, quietly, without you even noticing. Story. Think about a time when you saw the red flags early. You felt it. That subtle feeling that something wasn't right. Maybe it was inconsistency. Maybe it was a lack of effort. Maybe it was disrespect disguised as jokes. You noticed it. But instead of acting on it, you explained it away. You told yourself, "Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe they didn't mean it. Let me just give it time." So you stayed. You tolerated. You adjusted yourself. You lowered your expectations just to maintain the connection. And what happened? Nothing changed. In fact, it got worse. Because now there were no consequences. And when there are no consequences, behavior continues. That's the reality most people avoid. People don't change because you hope they will. They change because the standard requires it. And if there's no standard, there's no reason to change. So the behavior repeats. Again. And again. And again. Until one day, you realize you're being treated in a way you never accepted at the beginning. But the truth is, you didn't accept it all at once. You accepted it piece by piece, moment by moment, until it became normal. That's how people slowly become options in other people's lives. Not because they lack value, but because they stopped enforcing it. Truth. Respect is not demanded. It is enforced through boundaries. And boundaries are not words. They are actions. Anyone can say, "I deserve respect." But not everyone is willing to walk away when they don't receive it. That's the difference. That's where real power is. Because enforcing a boundary is uncomfortable. It may cost you a relationship. It may create tension. It may make you feel alone for a moment. But it also does something powerful. It restores your self-respect. And once you have that, everything changes. You stop chasing people who don't value you. You stop tolerating behavior that drains you. You stop explaining your worth to people who refuse to see it. And instead, you start living in alignment with your standards. And here's the shift. When you raise your standards, You don't just change how people treat you. You change who is allowed into your life. People who cannot meet your standard fall away. Not because you force them out, but because they no longer fit. And that's a good thing. Because the right people, the ones who respect you, the ones who value you, will meet you at that level. They won't require you to shrink. They won't require you to tolerate less. They will align with your standards naturally. So raising your standards is not about becoming difficult. It's about becoming clear. Clear about what you accept. Clear about what you walk away from. Clear about your value. And once that clarity becomes consistent, respect becomes automatic. The moment you raise your standards, you stop being an option and start becoming a priority. You filter out everyone who never deserved access to you, and you create space for people who truly value you. If you're finding value in this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment Stoic Mindset below, because this shift will change your entire life. 4. Detach from the need to be liked. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment Stoic Mindset below if this is hitting you, because this lesson will change your life. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. The need to be liked is dangerous. Not because connection is bad, but because needing approval changes who you are. It makes you adjust yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. It makes you silence your voice just to avoid conflict. It makes you agree, even when you disagree internally. And over time, you lose yourself. Not all at once, but slowly, piece by piece, until one day, you don't even recognize the person you've become. That's the cost of approval. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish." That means growth requires something most people avoid: discomfort, being misunderstood, being judged, being seen differently. And most people fear that, because they want to be accepted. They want to be liked. They want to belong. So they adjust. They shrink. They perform. Story. Think about how many times you held back your truth. You had something to say. Something real. Something honest. But you didn't say it. Because you were thinking, what will they think of me? Will this make things awkward? Will they still like me? So you stayed quiet. Or worse, you said something you didn't even believe, just to fit in, just to maintain approval. And in that moment, you lost a part of yourself. Because every time you choose approval over authenticity, you weaken your identity. And people can feel that. They may not say it, but they sense it. Because approval-seeking behavior signals insecurity. And insecurity does not create respect. But the moment you detach from that need, everything changes. You stop filtering yourself to please others. You stop chasing validation. You stop adjusting your values to match the room. And instead, you stand firm. You speak honestly. You act in alignment with who you are. And something powerful happens. You become magnetic. Not because everyone agrees with you, but because you're real. Because you're consistent. Because you're not trying to win people over. And that authenticity creates respect. Even from people who disagree with you. Because deep down, people respect those who stand firm. Those who don't bend under pressure. Those who don't chase approval. And here's the irony. The less you try to be liked, the more people respect you. The more people are drawn to you. Because you're not performing. You're not pretending. You're just being. And that's rare. In a world full of people trying to impress, the one who doesn't try stands out the most. People respect those who don't need approval. The less you chase validation, the more powerful your presence becomes. And if you're finding value in this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment Stoic Mindset below. Because this mindset will separate you from the crowd. 5. Control your emotions, or they will control your reputation. This is the final lesson, and this is where most people fail. Not because it's complex, but because it requires discipline. Real discipline. Your emotional reactions shape how people see you. More than your words. More than your intentions. More than your goals. How you respond in pressure defines your identity. Lose control, and you lose authority. Stay composed, and you gain respect. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that. Most of your anger, most of your frustration, most of your stress doesn't come from what actually happened. It comes from how you interpret it. And if you don't control that interpretation, your emotions will control your actions. Story. Someone provokes you. Maybe they disrespect you. Maybe they challenge you. Maybe they try to get a reaction out of you. Most people react instantly. They raise their voice. They get defensive. They try to prove themselves. They try to win the moment. But in doing so, they lose control. Because now their emotions are leading. And when your emotions lead, your power disappears. But the Stoic does something different. He feels the emotion. But he doesn't act on it immediately. He pauses. He observes. He creates space. And in that space, he chooses his response. That pause is everything. Because that's where control lives. That's where discipline lives. That's where power lives. Because when you don't react instantly, you break the pattern. You become unpredictable. You become composed. And people notice that. They may not say it, but they feel it. Because calmness under pressure is rare. Most people are reactive. Most people are impulsive. Most people are controlled by their emotions. So when you remain calm, you stand out. You command respect. Not by force, but by presence. And here's the deeper truth. Emotional control is not suppression. It's mastery. It's understanding what you feel, without letting it control what you do. It's choosing your response, instead of reacting out of impulse. And when you master that, you don't just change how people see you. You change your entire life. You make better decisions. You avoid unnecessary conflict. You stay focused under pressure. You become someone others rely on. Because you are stable. And stability creates trust. And trust creates respect. When you master your emotions, you master how the world responds to you. Because people don't respect those who react impulsively. They respect those who remain in control. And if you're finding value in this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment Stoic Mindset below. Because this is the level most people never reach. But once you do, everything changes. Finally, if you've made it this far, you've just unlocked something most people go their entire lives without understanding. How people treat you is not random. It's a reflection of 5 things you now control. The way you stop over-explaining and start standing firm. The way you use silence instead of reacting to everything. The standards you enforce, not just talk about. The approval you no longer chase, so you can stay true to yourself. And the emotions you master, instead of letting them control you. This is what a real Stoic mindset looks like. Not cold. Not distant. But disciplined, grounded, and unshakable. Because when you combine all 5, you become someone people think twice about disrespecting. Someone they naturally respect. Someone who doesn't need to demand value, because you embody it. And that's the shift. So if you're serious about changing how people treat you forever, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Which of these 5 points hit you the hardest? And how you're going to start applying it in your life starting today. Because knowledge alone doesn't change anything. Action does. And the moment you apply this, everything changes.